Today I have with me Nasser Najjar. He's a Gazan and a Palestinian who's currently based in Vancouver, Canada. And he writes about Palestinian issues for English-speaking audiences. And he has also worked with several IGOs, including the International Committee of Red Cross in Gaza. Nasser, it's very nice to have you today.
Nice having you. Thank you very much.
So Nasser, when we were speaking earlier, I was informed that you lived in Gaza from age 17 to 33, and then you left in 2014 when Israel was attacking Gaza. And I remember the 2014 attacks. I was actually participating in protests in Chicago at the time when Israel launched an assault on Gaza in 2014, and I think you left then. But you spent a good chunk of your life there. So tell us to our audience what was life like in Gaza?
Well, Gaza is. I don't think there's any other place in the world is like Gaza, in both good and bad ways. Over there, the hardship is different from whatever I experienced everywhere else. As you know, the work opportunities are so limited. The movement is so limited. It's everything is so controlled by another group of people that you do not see. You do not know who they are. Because the Israelis, as they keep on saying, they withdraw from Gaza as you know, physically, as the soldiers aren't there, like as boots on the grounds. But guess what? They do control every single aspect of our lives as Palestinians in Gaza. They do control the fishermen who goes into the sea, and they block them from fishing to some sort of extent. So that do, you know, it's like it has an immediate impact on our diet and food. They do control the borders. Just, you know, since the start of Ramadan, for example, this Ramadan, not a single truck crossed into Gaza. And this was a habit that the Israelis would do whenever they have whenever they feel that they want to do it, whenever they want to do it, whether they are, you know, they have a threat, they just block the borders, they don't allow food and aid to go in, or even if they're celebrating some sort of a religious matter, they just block the border.
And most recently, they're blocking aid as we speak, right? So is it true that
right now, like there is nothing entered into Gaza since the beginning of Ramadan, and this is, you know, the tip of the iceberg. They do control. We do use the Israeli currency. We do use the banking system, and the two shocking things that a lot of people doesn't know, or many of them they don't know. We pay taxes to the Israelis as Palestinians, and it goes through something called Makasa, which is like, you know, the PA and the trader, or like the businessmen. They do they import whatever goods that they need, and then the taxes goes to the PA, and then the PA cuts some. Taxes go to Israel, and then they cut their share, return the rest to the PA.
And the PA being the Palestinian Authority.
Palestinian Authority. Now the biggest matter where the Israelis control every aspect of our life, and this is kind of mind-blowing in the 21st century. And this is kind of the reason why the whole October 7 maybe happened, is this piece of paper in front of you. This is my Palestinian ID. It's You do have the Palestinian flag on it, but it's written in Hebrew. It's written in Hebrew because this goes into the civil registry in Israel. This way, every Palestinian, uh, whatever their moves are, whatever they do, whenever they go to a doctor, whenever they need any paper to be done, any document to be done, it goes through their system. So they know every single move any of us is doing. And in a way, it's a way to control who is Palestinian and who is not. If I didn't register my son within 5 years, he's not going to be Palestinian. Um, and as I mentioned, it's written in Hebrew. I'm not an Israeli citizen. I do not vote in Israeli Knesset. I do not vote in Israeli municipality. I don't use any of the Israeli services. And still, my ID is written in Hebrew.
And the irony here is that you cannot use the nice things and the services or the nice roads, but then when it comes to the surveillance issue, you basically go under the Israeli system. But when it comes to the services and the nice things that you're saying, you're basically outside the Israeli system.
Absolutely. And what does this remind you of? This reminds you of what happened with what happened to our African brothers and sisters when they were taken against their will and they were used as slaves in North America. And this is the bidding that they used to take them there. This ID over there gives the Israelis every single aspect of our life. So that is kind of the way that you see Gaza in how it's been controlled by the Israelis. Now, the good things about Gaza, the good things and the wonderful things that you will never see in any other place. The people there are resilient. Like it's like they know that the Israelis do not want to allow, let's say, gas to come into Gaza. Uh, they would change the cars' motors to make it work with cooking gas. If the Israelis prevent the cooking gas from going in, they will use cooking oil.
Mhm.
Uh, so the funny thing about the cooking oil, usually it must be used it must be used or like people use like they have to cook with it first. So you would smell the what someone had dinner last night. Like if they were cooking fish or they were cooking falafel, you would still have the smell of the what they had dinner last night. That's aside. The resilience is something really magnificent.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I was just watching on the news today, and what's really incredible is that the rubble and all the ruins and the Palestinians who have returned to north of Gaza, they were literally living there and rebuilding it, and that's I think that goes to the whole resilience issues because for most of us, like we cannot imagine doing that, but the Gazans do it, every couple years that Israel engages in a new assault, they rebuild again, and they go back to their homes.
Like imagine if those people over there they were given the chance. Like imagine with that mindset, uh, if they were given the chance to growth like the rest of the world, like the 8 billion other people in the world, they were given the chance to live a normal life, and they would be magnificent, intelligent group of people. Um, and but they're not given the chance because every single time your house is destroyed, you go and rebuild it again. So instead of you're spending your time on growing, you're spending on time, you're actually redoing what you've done for the last 20, 30 years, which is building the house brick by brick, brick by brick. People there, they are so close to each other in a way that they're warm. They will hold each other. They will support each other. The other day, I saw this documentary done by Al Jazeera, 360, where a nurse was in Al Shifa hospital when the Israelis burned it down, And he said that they put us all in one room. They didn't provide us with food. And then I had to share 2 pieces of bread with 8 people for 2 days. And still, this is something. Um, it will be hard to imagine people in general and people in the West in particular to do that.
No, definitely. And also, I mean, I saw a pro-Israeli tweet or a post on, I think now it's called X, not Twitter anymore, but I saw a post on X from a pro-Israeli account, and that account was retweeting something a Palestinian had said, and a Palestinian had said that I have a 70-member family, and many of them were killed or martyred during the Israeli attack on Gaza. Um, and the pro-Israeli account was like, they're lying because there's no way they have 70-member family. But what they don't understand is that the kind of community and the closeness and the help that the Gazans give to each other, and also the extended and the larger families that they might have compared to, say, Israelis or compared to the Western nations. And I think that closeness when it comes to the family and community bonds also really helps with that resilience that you're speaking about.
And as I mentioned, it's like, as you mentioned, maybe they don't understand. It's a part of resistance. Having a lot of family members, like my uncle, for example, he has 9 children, because there is a chance a child might die, and or might be injured, or might be killed, or because of course we are, it's like we are living under occupation, and this occupation have they do have full immunity. They can do whatever they want. There will be no questions whatsoever. So this is the only way that you can protect the family. This is the only way that you can make sure that the cause doesn't get eliminated. Otherwise, Palestinians as an ethnicity, we would be extinct by this time if we had only a child or two. Because it is a part of resistance. Once you have a child, they will stand for you. They will grow with you. They will help you in life matters. They will help you in rebuilding the house again and again and again.
And speaking of resistance, this brings me to my next question regarding October 7th. So tell us, I think we all have some memories of what was happening on October 7th or our reaction to it. So what was going through your mind on October 7th of 2023?
First thing came into my mind when I saw, because it's like I looked into my phone, and that's how I knew that there was something. I looked into my phone, there was like an um, alert image where it shows, where like missiles or fires are taking place, and I thought it's a glitch because the whole map was red, because there was no indication that anything is happening. And then I looked again, and there's like I found members of resistance are actually crossing the border. Um, and it's like, how is this possible? Because if you think about it, uh, it's not. Israel kept on selling itself as this high tech, powerful army that can never be uh, invaded, and they reach to the highest level of technology and security humans can ever reach to. They had the arrogance actually uh, to provide the Americans with maps how to build their borders on Mexico with Mexico, um, and I think they've got a big part of that border. I'm not really sure of that info, just to be 100%. I mean, building that part. Anyhow, so once you think about it, Hamas as fighters who do not have any heavy military armors, they do not have any aircrafts, they do not have a lot of uh, what the armies do need to invade. Uh, and I won't say a country because, as I mentioned here, with this idea over here, each Hamas member has his info and his ID with the Israelis that makes it, again, it's an occupied land. Gaza is an occupied territory. Um, so now the Palestinians or the resistance is walking into Israel. That is not, I don't think that is a violation to the international law. Now, were there um, were there acts of violence? Yes, they were. Were there that might occur to war crimes in some extent, but uh, the act itself, by crossing into the military bases, that's legitimate. Now, um, an Israeli soldiers being eliminated by a Hamas soldier, that is something not forbidden in international humanitarian law, and vice versa. A Palestinian soldier eliminated by Hamas, by Israel, is not forbidden as well, because soldiers, they chose that to themselves. They chose that path. They, as long as civilians are not shot deliberately, that's where it's supposed. That's where the line's supposed to take place, and that's where investigation is supposed to occur and start. And this actually raises questions why Israel doesn't want the UN to investigate what happened on October 7th. Why Israel doesn't want Human Rights Watch to investigate. I would love for an investigation to happen, and if there's someone who hurted civilians uh, in a deliberate way, to be taken to courts and justice. And that's how we maintain humanity. That's how we maintain our humanity.
Yes, and I mean, and there's also so much misinformation because I remember when October 7th had just happened, there were a lot of Israeli officials and Israelis and also people, Western pundits, who were saying that the babies were being beheaded by Hamas and
Oh, yeah.
comparable claims, and most of those claims, I think, ended up being bogus and misinformation. And I even remember when Saddam Hussein had invaded Iraq in the 1990s. There were claims that he's taking babies out of incubators, and I'm not trying to justify Saddam Hussein's invasion of Kuwait, but then that was kind of the misinformation campaign that was happening in the Western media in order to mobilize forces for intervention. But then there were a lot of lies about what Saddam Hussein's forces were doing in Kuwait, which was the whole famous taking the babies out of the incubators.
Yes.
And so this is similar. So it's so interesting how these patterns repeat themselves, the patterns of misinformation, but people fall for it over and over again. And yeah, so I think you're very, very right that we have to separate fact from fiction, and also to prosecute crimes where civilians were deliberately hurt, but also to try to understand Hamas's attack on Israel in the context of the occupation and the ethnic cleansing. I think this is why history is so important, because when you contextualize current events in their historical context, it really helps you to understand justice and who's right and who's wrong. We were talking, and you told me that you had several family members who were in Gaza while the genocide was happening in since October 7th of 2023. So can you tell us about what they were going through and what your family was dealing with during 2024?
The feelings are a lot. I don't know from where to start with this, but let's start with my parents first and my little sister. They used to live in Gaza, Ramal area, um, and then once the war happened, because they do live very close by to a very sensitive area. My first request, like, okay, guys, you have to leave um, to the middle area where my uncles are. Uh, don't think twice, you guys. And they're living in a building of they're living on the fifth floor. So as in seniors and older people, it takes a lot of time to go through the stairwells in case that something happened. All of these small details. you have to keep in mind. They moved to my uncle's place, and within a week, my sister has to move. My other sister, my older sister Lena, and her daughters and her husband, who used to live in the middle area, they moved to the same area where my family is because they lost their house. Um, Throughout the 15 months when the genocide took place, um, my daily routine was to wake up in the morning to check if when was the last time I received a WhatsApp text from my family members, from any of my family members. And then I would check my Facebook account to see who I've lost from my friends, co-workers, or extended family members. Uh, so this was, imagine that this is every day you're doing this. You're waking up, you're checking who's dying, then you go to brush your teeth and go to work. This was my life for the last 15 months. This is nothing compared to what they were going through of starvation, pain, um, and displacement. Because once you ask, like any of us moved from a house to another, and all of us felt, oh, it's a moving day, it's going to be tiring. I'm going to move my chair, I'm going to put it in a bus, I'm going to take it to another house. Oh, that's so tiring, I'm going to bring my friends with me. Imagine a whole population of 2.5 million people are doing this routinely, no idea where they're going, dragging. Doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are, how sick you are, whether you can walk, whether you have children, whether you do have an important viral job where safe sign. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. Doesn't Your dream doesn't matter. Your ambitions doesn't matter. Your family members doesn't matter. Nothing matters. The only thing that matters that you have to keep on running. You're starved. It doesn't matter. You have to keep on running. You forgot your medicine. Doesn't matter. And this was what my family going through. This alongside with 2.5 million people. At some point, my parents and my little sister, they managed to evacuate to Egypt in April 2024. And this happened because of the generosity of the friends and community in Vancouver, and because of what the shock that this war bring to the whole world, not only to Vancouver but in general, when they donated for my family's evacuation.